What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. For those that are new, welcome to the channel. Today we have a new rifle to test. I have done a break-in period on this rifle, so it has had 30 rounds put through it, but aside from that, it is brand new. Just recently mounted our scope and bases and everything, and we are ready to do our first batch of load development. So the rifle itself is a Savage 12 FV chambered in .308 Winchester. Now, this particular model of rifle that Savage offers at the moment is an exclusive to Cabelas, which now is also available at Bass Pro, thanks to them buying out Cabelas, which I'm not going to say I'm a huge fan of, but whatever. Anyway, so this particular model comes in 4 calibers, I believe, at the moment. So for the first batch of load development today, we're going to be using brand new large rifle primer pocket Starline brass, Hodgdon Varget powder, CCI number 200 large rifle primers, and the last thing, which hopefully is the most important, is going to be our 178 grain Hornady ELD-X bullets. So we got 50 rounds loaded up, 5-siders. We also actually have 10 extra rounds loaded up just for curiosity, using some 155 grain Sierra Match Kings and Lapua Cinars or Skinars, however you want to say that. And we're going to throw those through the barrel first just to foul it, because it was recently cleaned very thoroughly. And then we're going to start with the load development and see what kind of groups that we can get. Okay, so as you guys can probably see, it's hot out here because I am sweating like a pig already, and I have not been out here very long. But anyway, these are 155 grain Sierra Match Kings. They're Palma Match Kings, but we're going to use these to foul up the barrel. I only have 4 because I already shot one to get an idea of where I was going to hit, because I have not sighted this thing in. I bore sighted it, and by bore sighted it I mean I just looked down the barrel and kind of lined up the reticle with the target. So pretty primitive way to do it, but it got me onto the target. At least it was actually just off the edge of the paper, so you've got it moved all the way to the onto the paper now, hopefully, and we'll go ahead and shoot these. I forgot, these are using PPU brass, and I've had really bad experiences with PPU brass, so we'll see if these actually have any ability to group, but I'm not really looking for groupings, although I figured I'd film it since I'm going to shoot these anyway. So anyway, here we go. Okay, so we're pretty close to center, at least. That's good. Ooh, yeah, these are definitely not grouping well. These are using Varget powder, 44.5 grains, if I remember correctly. Since these aren't grouping too great, and like I said, I'm not really looking for groupings to begin with, I'm just going to foul up the barrel here, and then I'm going to go get some water. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and shoot the next group right away to get this part done with. Then I'll go get some water and then we'll continue. But anyway, these are Lapuas, the bullets, not the brass. The brass is still PPU brass. This is all PPU that I'm shooting right now. I'm saving the Starline for later. But anyway, these are Lapua 155 grain Cinars or Skinars, whatever, who cares. But I'm expecting these to have a somewhat similar point of impact. I don't know what the deal is, but I can't get this magazine to work very well. I have a lot of bad luck with magazines for some reason. I must just be too stupid to use them. Okay, so anyway, we'll go ahead and shoot these 5 just for fun. Better start than the Sierras. Ooh, that one might have been me. I think I pulled that last one, but all right, so now we got the barrel nice and fouled up. Got a real hot barrel. I'm gonna go ahead and switch out the target. Maybe I might use the sight in rounds for the 178 gainers just to make sure they're on. And then we will get started with our load development. Let's go. Okay guys, we're gonna start the load development. I'm going to be probably cutting out a lot of the video because I'm going to be religiously checking my brass because most of these loads felt compressed. So I don't want to say that I'm nervous, but I'm definitely going to be cautious with this because I don't think I've ever loaded up a batch that had this many compressed loads before. So anyway, we're just going to be cautious about checking our brass and making sure that everything stays safe. And if we see something that looks a little too sketchy, then we're probably going to go ahead and stop short. But anyway, our first batch here, so we're starting at 39 grains of Varget. So let's go ahead and put these on paper and see how these things are going to do. I'm excited. I've been wanting to test these for a long time, but today is the day that we're going to get to it. So let's see how they do. That looks fine. All right, good start. Okay, I'm liking what I'm seeing. That opened it up quite a bit. Bummer. Ooh. What is on my leg? Go away. All right, not necessarily a bad start. I was kind of hoping for something a little smaller, but hoping we'll close it up over time. So anyway, our brass looks good. That makes me happy, although this is the starting load, so I would hope that it looks good on the starting load. But anyway, we're gonna go down, mark our target, do the same drill that we always do, and then we'll turn the cameras back on and keep rolling. All right guys, so I apologize for this, but my GoPro has completely stopped working. It is very, very unresponsive to anything I try to do. So anyway, we're just gonna have to film the target after each group. I'm sorry, I would like to provide target footage throughout the entire video, but I can't get the GoPro to work. So anyway, this is the group that we just shot, the first one. It started off with it was this shot and then this shot, and then there was 2 in 1 hole, so it started off pretty good, and then I shot this 4th one, and then this was the last one, which opened it up to like 2 inches, maybe 1 3/4 inches. So not the best group, but we're hoping to see something better. This was a sight in shot here, but anyway, we're gonna go ahead and shoot the next one and hope for a better group. All right guys, so the style of this video is gonna be a little bit different. I'm sorry you're not gonna have any target cam footage, but who knows, maybe you guys will actually like this style more, and if you do, let me know in the comments and I'll do it this way for the rest of my shooting. But I figured you'd probably prefer to be able to see every shot as I make them, at least so you can know I'm shooting them. But anyway, we're not going to be able to do that this video, so I'm sorry, but we're going to make the best with what we've got. But anyway, we're going to be shooting our next group here, which I believe is 39.5 grains of Varget. And like I said, I'm going to be religiously checking the brass throughout this batch of load development here. So anyway, first group was like 1 3/4 inches, I think, just by eyeballing it. And I'm hoping that we can at least get something under 1 inch today, because I believe this gun is more than capable of that. My hope is to get a load here that we can consistently shoot under 3/4 inch, but maybe that's being optimistic. I don't know. We'll see. But I think it's doable. So anyway, we're going to shoot for the top left target here, and I'll take you guys down there and show you what we got. Okay, so far so good. We got 2, probably about 1/2 inch apart from one another. Okay, second shot went in the same hole as the third shot. All right, now I opened it up to about 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches. And it stayed about 1.25 inches. So that one's smaller than the last from what I could see here. And I think that might even be at 1 inch, but I'm gonna stick with my 1.25 inch estimate here. So let's go look at it. All right guys, so we got our second group on paper here. There's our first one. And then that's the second one that we just shot, which looks quite a bit better than the last one, but hopefully we'll continue to see a trend of smaller groups. So I'm not gonna lie guys, I've pretty much been getting eaten alive the entire time I've been out here by bugs. So in terms of picking a good day to do load development, did not pick the best day, but that's kind of what you expect during the summer in Missouri. And the weather has not really given me much of a choice in terms of what days I could come out here to do this. So we're making the best with what we've got. But anyway, we're gonna get this done and I'm still excited. I'm just tired of getting bitten by flies. Come on, buddy. Why do you hate me? There we go. Okay, so I think we're on to 40 grains of Varget here. Still religiously checking our brass. So far we've got like 1.5 inches and 1.25 inches or 1 inch, I'm not sure, group, but they don't look terrible for starters, but I'm hoping that we can get this gun at least under 1 inch and hopefully down to 3/4 inch. That's my goal for the day. So we're gonna go for the top right target here, and you guys cross your fingers to see 3/4 inch group. All right, brass still looks good. Okay, got two nearly touching. Dang it. Okay, so the group's already like 1 inch. But it didn't get any bigger just now, so let's hope it stays at 1 inch. Okay, it didn't open up anymore, so that's good. Looks like 1 inch group. I think we have 2 holes where 4 of the rounds went. And the brass still looks good. So let's go mark our target. I'll show y'all what we got, and then we'll move on to the next load. Okay, so far things are continuing to look better and better. First group, second group, and this is the group that we just shot. And you can see there's 2 shots right there, 2 shots right there in the same hole, and then we got one up there. So it's definitely smaller than the last 2 in terms of overall spread, but I'm not entirely sure. It looks like it's about 1 inch. Maybe we're getting closer to our goal. Okay, so it looks like we've actually been making pretty steady progress in a forward direction here, which is nice because I always like to see the groups getting smaller and smaller. But also, the sun's starting to go down, which means it's getting a little cooler, thankfully, because the heat and humidity today has been not the most pleasant, but you know what? That's okay. It's just that it means the gun takes quite a while to cool down sometimes, and that can be kind of boring. So hopefully the gun will cool off a little quicker now and we can get things rolling faster, but you guys don't have to worry about that because you get to skip all those parts, so you're welcome. Now we are on to, let's see, 40.5 grains of Varget, as long as I'm looking at these right. I'm hoping we'll see a sub-minute group here, because that last one looked pretty good. So it's getting my hopes up, which is never a good thing. But we'll give her a shot and see how it does. think I'm actually going to move the point of impact here a little bit once we're done with these, because they're hitting high and right, and I'd like to center it a little more. Come on, there we go. Okay, so I think that third group that we shot was a little better than this one, but this one looks like it's 1.25 inches, so it's not bad by any means, but we're hoping for better than that. So let's go down and look at it, and then we will move on to the next one. All right, guys, so we got our first, second, third, and fourth set of groups fired here. We got the first one in the middle, second top left, third top right, and the fourth down here. So it looks like it might be 1.25 inches, somewhere around there. So it's not the smallest, it's not the largest group. I'm hoping we can squeeze this a little tighter. I'm not unhappy with what we've seen so far, because we're not even halfway done. So anyway, we still got plenty of groups to test, or plenty of loads to test and groups to shoot. But for now, I'm not unhappy. I think that we can get that 3/4 MOA group out of here. So we'll see where this goes. All right, guys, so we're moving on to load number 5 here. Now, I want to give you guys a little tip here. So for those of us that have been reloading for a while, probably already know this, but for those of you that haven't, I'm going to give you guys a little piece of information that you may have not already heard. So if you shoot a group that looks really good on paper, if you have a load that shoots like just a one hole group, you always want to double check that before you take all of your brass and components and just load the rest of it with that load. So load 5 or 10 more with that load. Just double check to make sure that it's gonna shoot good consistently before you spend all the time and effort and resources in loading the rest of your brass on that load, because it may have been a fluke. So if you're shooting a bunch of loads in one day and most of them are shooting about 1.5 inches, and then you have one load that just shoots 1/2 inch, that's a sign it might be a fluke, and I would try it again just to make sure it's actually going to consistently shoot a 1/2 inch group, because you may have just got a lucky group there and you don't want to go and load all that up and see that they also shoot about 1.5 inches. So anyway, just a quick tip for those of you that haven't been doing this very long and may not know that. You always want to double check your stuff before you load it all up. But anyway, let's go ahead and shoot this 5th group and see if we can get a fluke. Oops. Uh-oh. Okay, so that's a pretty good group. Looks like it might also be right around 1 inch, but pretty tight. So I'm hoping, like I said, maybe we can get under 1 inch here by the end. That actually might be under 1 inch because it looks pretty good from here. But anyway, so far so good. We still have half our loads to test here, or just under half, I guess. Still got 4 left. The brass is looking good. We'll go mark our target, show you guys what we're looking at, and then we'll move on to the next one. All right, guys, so we're halfway done here. We got 5 loads on target. The last one that we just shot was this bottom right one here. If we can bring in that one from the top left just a little bit, that's about what we're looking for. That's a pretty good group aside from that last one. I mean, it's still a good group, but if we could bring in that one on the top just a little bit, that's pretty much what we'd be looking for here. So these aren't bad. I'm hoping that we can shrink it just a little bit more by the end of this testing, but we'll just have to wait and see. So let's go shoot another group. So I think that last group was our best one yet, and I'm hoping that we can shrink it just a little bit more here by the end. But we got 4 charges left to test here, and I think I'm going to aim for the bottom left corner of the diamond. But I'm really happy so far because I was a little concerned. I don't want to say that I was like really nervous, but like I said, almost all of these things are compressed. So far I haven't really seen any scary signs on the brass, but you know, we are only halfway through, so we may see them by the end here. But I mean, everything went well so far. You know, the groups aren't too bad. I'm hoping we can shrink them a little bit more. We haven't seen any pressure signs, and everything's been going pretty smooth, except for the fact that I'm still being eaten alive by flies, but that's just to be expected. So anyway, we're gonna shoot this one here. I'm not sure which one this is. I think we started 39, we got 40, 41, so it should be 41 and a half, as long as I'm remembering correctly. Oh my gosh, that opened up a lot. Yeah, this group is massive. Jeez. All right, so that one was gross. Definitely not really much to note on that one other than it sucked. But I was hoping to see better groups. However, I don't really like loading max charges for my plinking loads. So, I mean, if we just have to take one of the earlier ones and use those, that's okay. But I was hoping to see a little smaller groups, but I'd rather them be safe. We're still not seeing any major pressure issues, so that's good. But nonetheless, I just want to point out that I don't really like loading the higher loads. So anyway, if I have to load some of the lower ones, that's okay. But anyway, we're gonna go take a look at this target, show you guys what's up, and we'll keep moving forward. So we got 6 groups on target now, and the 6th one sucked. This last one just opened up by a lot, and I don't know what happened there. I guess the gun just did not like that load, because of the rest of these have been consistently like half that size. So hopefully the higher end of the powder spectrum here is not going to be just god awful, but that's what it looks like. So anyway, we're gonna keep shooting, and I'm not sure, but we might see some pretty good groups here on the top end. Normally I just tell myself to quit sucking, but that group was like a lot bigger than the rest of them. So I think that it's probably not going to like the higher end of the spectrum here in terms of powder charge, which is okay with me, because I don't like loading a ton of powder unless I absolutely have to. So anyway, we're gonna keep moving forward, but I'm not expecting to see some incredible groups now that we saw it begin to open up like crazy. But anyway, we're on our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th group here. Wait, hold on, is that right? No, 7th, I'm sorry, I can't count. So anyway, 7th load, and we have 2 more after that. Hopefully we can get all these on the same target without blowing up the rest of our groups here. But we're gonna shoot for the left corner of the diamond here and hope that this is not just another massive group, and also hope that we don't run into any pressure issues. I think my scope turrets are actually blocking the brass sometimes when it tries to eject, so it's just hitting that. So I'm not blaming the ejection on the rifle, because I think that's actually my fault. Okay, so that group actually wasn't that bad. Definitely not nearly as bad as the group that we shot before that. Uh-oh. So we're starting to get a little bit of bolt stick here, which is Not always a great sign, but the case heads look pretty good. I'm not seeing ejector marks or anything, which makes me happy because that's usually the first thing that I start to see with 308, at least. Flattened primers and ejector marks are typically my number one signs when I'm shooting 308, but they look fine. So I'm actually, that one has a little bit of an ejector mark, but I'm pretty happy with this, honestly, because every single one of these, except for like the first two loads, were compressed, if I remember correctly. So I gave myself a big reminder here, check all brass, because I wanted to make sure that we weren't running into any pressure issues, and it looks pretty good so far. So anyway, you guys don't want to hear me talk anymore. Let's go check the target. Okay, so we got 7 loads down on paper now. The good thing is that 7th one that we just shot was a lot closer to the territory that we've been treading in most of the time. Definitely a lot better than number 6, which was pretty much horrendous. And I'm hoping that that means that the top end won't be absolutely awful, because number 6 was horrendous compared to the rest of these. And I'm hoping that we'll actually get some decent groups on the top end. So anyway, we've got 2 loads left. Let's go ahead and shoot them and see if they're not horrible. So the last load brought us a little closer to where we want to be, which is good because I didn't think that any of these were going to group well. But turns out they might actually not be too bad. So we're going to go ahead and shoot number 8 here and continue to check for pressure signs as we have been, and then hope that it won't be a crappy group. Wait, I don't know, we might actually get some good groups here on the top end. I thought after number 6 it was just going to be garbage, but we might actually get a pretty good group here, or 2. So we'll go ahead and shoot this and see what we get. As long as there's no pressure signs on the end, I have no issue with loading a max charge. As long as they look safe, that's fine with me. I don't like when I start to see pressure issues and then really good groups come out of it. That kind of bums me out a little bit because I tend to stay away from that as much as I can. But let's go ahead and shoot number 8 and see what we get. Okay, so I'm not gonna lie, that might have been a pulled shot. You probably saw it on camera. I jumped a little bit. I wasn't ready for the for the gun to go off, so hopefully it doesn't screw up this group here. Actually, it didn't screw up the group at all. It stayed right within everything. Although, I will say there's pretty much a straight line where they all hit, and the one that I shot first is just outside of that straight line. You'll see it here in a minute, but I mean, it didn't make the group any larger in terms of, well, vertical or horizontal spread. But anyway, you guys will see here in a minute, the brass still looks great. Things are going good. We got 1 load left. I'm gonna take you down here in just a second and show you exactly what I'm talking about. And then we'll keep on going, shoot the last group, and then we'll be done for the day. And we can look at everything and decide whether or not we want to try a different bullet or go ahead and stick with this one. All right, guys, so we officially got 8 loads on paper. We only got 1 left, but the good news is number 6 made it seem like our top end was going to be bad for this bullet. However, number 7 and number 8, the one that we just shot, proved otherwise. And even with that pulled shot, it really didn't even open it up that much, if at all. So turned out pretty good, considering I thought I was going to destroy the group by having a little premature discharge there. But anyway, it's looking pretty good, so hopefully number 9 will be a nice small group too, and then we'll get back to the bench, look at these, and decide if we want to keep using this bullet or try something new. All right, guys, so we only got 1 load left. We've got some pretty good results. Alright guys, so here are the results from our first batch of load development with this rifle. Now, altogether out of the 9 groups that we put on paper here, the group average was about 1.31 inches, which isn't terrible, but we're hoping to get a lot more accuracy out of this gun in the long haul, so we're going to play around with some other stuff and see if we can squeeze some more accuracy out of it later down the road. But for our first batch of load development right after the break-in period, it didn't do too shabby. So let's go ahead and get started and deep dive into the groups here on paper. So our first group here was 1.767 inches. The second group was 1.138 inches. The third was 1.021 inches. The fourth was 1.136 inches. The fifth was 1.003 inches. The sixth was 1.845 inches. The seventh was 1.321 inches. The eighth was 1.082 inches. And the ninth was 1.477 inches. So overall, not too bad. I think some of these erratic groups like this one here, some of the bigger ones kind of threw off our average a little bit and made it seem worse than it really was, because we had a couple larger ones that kind of made it seem worse than I really think that it was, because I think groups like this we're going to be able to get that a lot more consistently out of this gun after we tweak the loads a little bit and figure out what it likes. But anyway, not too bad for the first batch. We're going to look at some other options, but for now let's go ahead and get back to the bench and talk about it a little bit. Alright guys, so our Savage 12 FV in 308 Winchester is off to a pretty good start. It didn't shoot too shabby. Now, to be completely honest with you, as you can probably tell from the beard, this portion of the video is being filmed much later than the actual shooting portion of the video, but that's okay. I'll explain why in an upcoming video, why all of the recent videos I've been uploading were shot in the summer. I've had some things that kind of came up, and like I said, I'll get into that more in detail here soon. But there's going to be some big changes coming to the channel, which is good. Be excited, because there's a lot coming up here soon. But anyway, the 178 grain ELD-X bullet did pretty good. This gun is going to be put through its paces, believe me, and we may or may not be making some alterations and or putting a chassis on this gun to see if we can squeeze out a little more accuracy as well. But we're going to be tweaking all kinds of loads. We're going to be trying different bullets, different powders and whatnot. So if that kind of stuff interests you, let me know. If there's some kind of powder that you want me to test, or some kind of bullet or primer or whatever, let me know in the comments, because I do like hearing y'all's feedback and I want to know where you think the channel should go and what kind of content you want to see. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. I just want to say I appreciate y'all, and if you want to help support the channel in any form or fashion, I don't have a Patreon yet or anything like that, but if you want to buy something from Amazon, you can use the link in the description. It's an affiliate link, so if you click on that link, it'll take you to Amazon, and then if you buy anything on Amazon, I'll get a small commission off of any purchase you make, and it doesn't cost you a dime extra, and that's kind of the only way that you could really support me right now, which is appreciated. So anyway, thank you guys again for watching. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I hope to see you again on the next video.